Assalamu alaikum. We're gonna start with the word enforce. Law, rule, keep, enforce. يطبق, يفرض. The head teacher enforced the rules without making any exceptions. The head teacher enforced the rules without making any exceptions. Another meaning, enforce something as a verb obtained by force. يفرض شيئا. Companies disregarding the new legislation will receive a court order to enforce compliance. Companies disregarding the new legislation will receive a court order to enforce compliance. And reinforce something as a verb material, make stronger. يقوي, يدعم. They reinforced the doors with steel. They reinforced the doors with steel. And reinforce something as a verb, military position, strengthen. يعزز عسكريا. New troops arrived to reinforce those already on the ground. New troops arrived to reinforce those already on the ground. And legislation as a noun, law making, تشريع. The house crisis should be addressed through legislation. The housing crisis should be addressed through legislation. Legislation as a noun, set of laws, قوانين. The legislation makes it possible for merchants to recover their losses. The legislation makes it possible for merchants to recover their losses. And another word, pop in something, يمر بسرعة على شيء. Enter quickly in passing. I'll be just a moment. I just need to pop into the pharmacy to pick up my prescription. I'll be just a moment. I just need to pop into the pharmacy to pick up my prescription. And pop into something, put on quickly, close. يلبس شيئا بسرعة. Her friends were having fun in the pool, so Emily popped into her swimsuit and joined them. Her friends were having fun in the pool, so Emily popped into her swimsuit and joined them. Obscure, that's another word, indistinct to the eye, غير واضح. What's that obscure shape next to the tree? What's that obscure shape next to that tree? And obscure as an adjective, unclear in meaning, غامض, مبهم. The poem was so obscure I couldn't make any sense of it. The poem was so obscure I couldn't make any sense of it. And obscure as an adjective, not known, غامض, مجهول. The origins of the tradition are obscure. The origins of the tradition are obscure. Obscure, not famous, مغمور, غير مشهور. We listened to the album of an obscure singer from the 1960s. We listened to the album of an obscure singer from the 1960s. Obscure something, conceal, يخفي شيئا, يحجب شيئا. They used curtains to obscure holes in the walls. They used curtains to obscure holes in the walls. Obscure writing as a noun, text which is hard to decipher. كتابة غير واضحة. Doctors always have obscure writing. Doctors always have obscure writing. Obscure writing whose meanings is hard to discover. كتابة غامضة المعنى. Though the philosopher was at times accused of obscure writing, his ideas still transformed his field. Though the philosopher was at times accused of obscure writing, his ideas still transformed his field. Another word, indispensable, as an adjective, essential, necessary. أساسي, لا غنى عنه. You will find that a torch is indispensable at the cabin. You will find that a torch is indispensable at the cabin. Indispensable, obligatory, compulsory, ضروري, لازم. I have an indispensable obligation this afternoon and can't join you. I have an indispensable obligation this afternoon and can't join you. Another word, foolproof, as an adjective that cannot be misused. مؤكد, متيقن, مثبت, غير خطر. Canned gravy is foolproof because you don't even have to mix any ingredients. Canned gravy is foolproof because you don't even have to mix any ingredients. And foolproof as an adjective that cannot fail. مضمون واثق محصن. This is a foolproof way to curl your hair. This is a foolproof way to curl your hair. Another word, perpetuate, cause to continue as a verb. يؤبد يخلد يديم. If someone or something perpetuates a situation, system, or belief, especially a bad one, they cause it to continue. If someone or something perpetuates a situation, system, or belief, especially a bad one, they cause it to continue. We must not perpetuate the religious divisions of the past. We must not perpetuate the religious divisions of the past. Another word, perpetrate, form as a verb, carry out, commit. يرتكب شيئا يقترف شيئا. The police are sure they know who perpetrated the burglary. The police are sure they know who perpetrated the burglary. Perpetrate something on somebody, do something to somebody. يرتكب شيئا بحق شخص. The victims were awarded compensation for the violence that had been perpetrated on them. The victims were awarded compensation for the violence that had been perpetrated on them. If someone perpetrates a crime or any other immoral or harmful act, they do it. If someone perpetrates a crime or any other immoral or harmful act, they do it. Another word, tenacity. Tenacity as a noun, persistence, عناد, إصرار, تماسك, تشبث. You need great tenacity to succeed as a writer. You need great tenacity to succeed as a writer. If you have tenacity, you are very determined and do not give up easily. If you have tenacity, you are very determined and do not give up easily. Another word, commence as a verb, begin. ينطلق يبدأ. The festivities will commence at sunset. The festivities will commence at sunset. Commence something as a verb, begin something. يبدأ. Let us commence the celebration of the prince's wedding. Let us commence the celebration of the prince's wedding. As soon as the music started, the crowd commenced dancing. As soon as the music started, the crowd commenced dancing. Another word, imperative, as an adjective, necessary, ضروري ملح. If it is imperative that something be done, that thing is extremely important and must be done. If it's imperative that something be done, that thing is extremely important and must be done. It is imperative that you call us as soon as you arrive. It's imperative that you call us as soon as you arrive. Imperative as a noun, necessity, obligation, واجب, مستلزم. The treaty lists several imperatives for both parties. The treaty lists several imperatives for both parties. Another word, distortion, inaccurate statement as a noun, تعريف. They wrote to correct several distortions in the article. They wrote to correct several distortions in the article. Distortion as a noun, sound, unwanted effect, خشخشة في الصوت. There's a lot of distortion on the line and I can't hear you. There's a lot of distortion on the line and I can't hear you. And distortion as a noun, music, sound effect, تشويه, مؤثر في الموسيقى. Can you fix that distortion in the bass speaker? Can you fix that distortion in the bass speaker? And distortion as a noun, image, warping, تشويه. The distortion in the image is created by using special lenses. The distortion in the image is created by using special lenses. Another word, expel something as a verb, substance, gas, emit, يطلق, يقذف. The unidentified parcel was expelling a noxious odor. And expel somebody as a verb, ban, bar, a student, يطرد, يفصل. She got expelled for shouting at a teacher. She got expelled for shouting at a teacher. And the last one, expel somebody from something as a verb. ban a student from a school. يطرد شخصا من شيء أو يفصل شخصا من شيء. And thank you very much. It's time to see the car now.